welcome to the newest episode of Falling Upwards, the place where it's fine to fall, because if you fall upwards, you're not really falling. It's, I come up with these on the fly. Some days they work, some days they don't work. I've just chased a dog around a house for 5 minutes. My brain's not there.
Oh, don't say that.
But someone whose brain is there right now is Maddie Armstrong. How are you doing, Maddie?
I'm good, because I just had some fish and chips, but my boobs are hurting. So it's like good and bad.
Are those connected? Are they meant to be connected?
No.
I thought you were going to say it was going to be like a Mean Girls thing where it's like you can use your boobs to like tell the weather. I'm like, the weather this season.
Unfortunately, no. It is quite good today, though, so maybe that's the price I must pay.
As you can hear, we have a special guest on for the full episode today. If you haven't heard of her already, where have you been? Where have you been all of this time? She's embarking on a successful tour. She's been at the Edinburgh Fringe. She's been on one of the most popular TV shows of all time, Taskmaster. Australia, it still counts. It's all Taskmaster. It's Jenny Tian, everybody.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Woo!
How are you doing today?
I'm going well. Yeah, I just got a haircut, so I'm feeling fresh.
As some of you might be able to tell from her dulcet tones,
Oh, yeah.
she is Aussie. But she's not in Australia right now. Where are you, Jenny?
No, I'm not in Australia. I am currently in London. So I'm having a fun time here in the UK, exploring things, going to Liverpool this weekend. Yeah, going all over on the train and seeing various things, hitting up the comedy clubs. Yeah.
Nice. Well, to kick off every episode, we always start with Mad News, a little place where Maddie shares her anecdote of the week. So let's get it going. What have you got for us, Maddie?
Recently, there was a new fish discovered, and it's called the grumpy dwarf goby because it looks really grumpy.
Oh my God.
Think like an anglerfish, you know how it's sort of like, it just looks kind of mad at everything. Yeah, that's why they called it the grumpy dwarf goby.
Oh, how nice. Where did they find it? Is it like a deep sea fish?
It was Arabian Sea.
Wow. You know where I know Arabian from? Arabian Nights from Aladdin. That's my reference at the moment. I'm like, yeah, Aladdin, here we go. It's got a little lamp and everything.
Yeah, the Arabian Red Sea. Yeah. Jenny, if you're a fish, what would you be?
If I was a fish,
I hope you wouldn't be a grumpy dwarf goby.
I don't know. It sounds kind of fun. I get to like live in the Arabian Sea, right? I would be.
Do you think of yourself as a grumpy person?
I actually think it would be so fun to be grumpy. Because it's like, you would have so many opinions on the world, you would just be like, and you just have an expectation for everything to be better. I think like complaining all the time is really, really fun. So I like grumpy people.
It can be.
Um,
That's what English people are like.
Okay, here's my hot take on English people. Okay, everyone says that like, oh, everyone else is so sad and oh, English people are so miserable. And in fairness, I have arrived here in like the summer season, but everyone is so lovely and nice and happy, and you all just sit in the park eating berries and having picnics. Like, you don't have picnics when you're a sad person. You know what I mean?
True.
Like you're all like happy and just chilling out in like parks and stuff. Nowhere else in the world just sits down in like parks to do nothing at all. You just have all this spare time
Really?
with your meal deals. Like, this is a lovely place and everyone is happy. And I think that's an incorrect stereotype that, people from England are miserable. I'm sorry. I'll say that.
Wait, do people not chill in parks in Australia?
No, this is not a normal thing, right? Like, okay, in Australia, you like do things, you're doing activities. So you're like going to like a pottery class, or you're like going to the beach, or you're going on a hike. Like, you're always doing something. To just sit around and like do nothing and lounge is like, that just feels like such a luxury. And also like in a cost of living crisis at the moment, like everyone's like doing all these like side hustles and like working and stuff. Like, I have never been to a place where people just sit on the grass as well, like the dirty grass, right? Yeah. Straining their pants, right? Like, you got to be a happy person if you don't care about like a dirty bum and you're just sitting around doing
I think it's because there's so little sunshine in the UK that all of British people's happiness is like reserved for those 3 days of the year where it's actually nice weather. Is it nice weather in London, Emma, right now?
Well, we did have lightning storms like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So now people are in a good mood because it's good weather, and that's why they're sitting on grass.
That could be it. Like I said, I came here in the summertime, but I mean, like, if I'm comparing the summertime here to the summertime in Australia, I feel like Brits are happier than Australians on average.
Really? Is it because it's so hot?
It's really hot in Australia. Like, it's so unbearably hot that you stay indoors in air conditioning. Like, you don't go out. And also, like, even when it is like nicer weather, like if it's like 27 degrees, like, again, you're just like doing thing after thing. You don't just sit around laissez-faire, with like a wine. Like, that just doesn't happen. Yeah.
I can't imagine any British person being called happy, apart from like Mr. Blobby.
I know. This is so new.
Even the way British people talk, you sound happy. You're like, oh my God, I can't imagine a British person being happy. Like, you sound happy saying it. You know what I mean?
I agree. Emma does have quite a happy voice, though.
No.
Yeah. Well, you have happy voices, you have happy dispositions. Like, in general, you're like, oh, la, 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 going about the streets. Like, oh, it's so rainy today. Oh, I forgot my umbrella. In Australia, we're just like, oh, everything's shit. Like, it's like, flat, that's how we sound. That's our accent.
Well, that's that's mad news for everybody.
Thank you for listening.
I never picked a fish. I'm sorry.
Wait, what fish would you be?
Oh my God. I don't know many fish at all. I think, okay, you know what? You know what's coming to my head right now? I think I would be like Dory from like Finding Dory, because like I think
Dory?
yeah, I think it would be nice because you don't remember anything. And I think that's quite a fun state to be in, to not have to remember anything at all and to go through life like moment to moment like that. I like it.
Head empty.
Did you see Finding Dory?
No, I didn't.
You see, your reasoning is beautiful, but then like Finding Dory, I've not been able to watch it since because I wept like a baby.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because it like digs into like.
But is Dory sad in it?
Well, it digs into like how she deals with that, or I suppose kind of disability of not having a good memory.
Oh, wow.
And there are bits where, you look into like her talking to her parent. Oh, I was just sitting there like, Jesus Lord, this is Pixar through and through.
Wow. Because you know how I think of it? I think of it like 50 First Dates. Did you see the ending of that? Which I don't want to spoil, but it's like you can have short memory and it's you just wake up every day and it's beautiful,
See, that's a beautiful, optimistic take on things.
It is very. You seem like quite an optimistic person.
Yeah. I mean, I try to be,
With that in mind, we'll segue into our classic question. Jenny Tian, what's your favourite failure?
Man, I've had so many failures. I think it's like such a necessary part of like life, right? Like you got to fail in order to like get anything done, really. What would I say? Okay, can I give two? Am I allowed to give two, or is that normal?
Yes.
As many as you want.
Please do.
Okay, I'll give one because like this is kind of like the one that I think people tend to find more inspiring, especially if they're also comedians. I was kind of like about 4 years into doing stand-up comedy, and at that stage, I don't know what it's like in other creative professions, but there's kind of like markers for success or who's going to be the next thing that come along, and there's certain competitions or showcases that the next people get chosen for, right? Like Hannah Gadsby, Josh Thomas, Tim Minchin, Reese Nicholson, like anyone that's ever been big from Australia has been in these showcases or won or been a finalist in these competitions. And usually these things get like televised as well. And I had never really been part of it. And for anyone in Australia listening, the specific one is Raw Comedy and also Comedy Zone. And I had never really been part of those. And because of that, you turn it into a story, right? Because as human beings, you just generally want to assign meaning to things to try and make sense of it. So, there was this narrative in my head that I was never going to do anything successful or never make it, because if all these successful people had this pattern in common and I wasn't part of that pattern, then that wouldn't make sense for me, and I probably was just doing it for nothing then. But then I was kind of happy in that. Like I thought about it and I'm like, okay, so if I never got anywhere and I never had a career and I was never big or famous or whatever, then would I still want to do this? And my answer was like, yeah, because this is like the best funnest feeling to do stand-up comedy.
Mm.
So I was like, if all I ever did was kind of just open mics, that would still make me so happy because this is so fun. So yeah, I kind of thought of myself as a failure in that regard. Like a lot of my peers that I was coming up with were getting all these opportunities and like radio interviews and TV things, and I hadn't really gotten anything, and I kind of looked inwards and was trying to figure out why. And there's other narratives that you make up as well, like, oh, is it because I'm ethnic, or is it because I'm a woman, is it because I'm a young woman? And you can get really in your head about that sort of stuff as well. And then I kind of started posting videos online, and also started taking acting lessons. And in acting, I learnt that actors get rejected all the time, and like 99% of them are just like constantly getting rejected. And being around people like that who like hustled so hard and were so used to rejection really adapted and changed my mindset in regards to that. And then I also, I started posting videos, and my I started by doing a bit of my stand up just to the camera because I didn't even have like a film stand up set. I then posted it and it got like 500,000 views or something.
Whoa.
And okay, so there is an audience for me out there, and people actually do like what I say, and I am funny. And it's just that, like, that doesn't mean I'm a failure. It was kind of like an indication that I was doing something right, and that, I shouldn't just give up or whatever. So then I kept posting after that. And then because I kept posting, like all these other things started coming along. Like I got my first ever comedy agent. I started my first ever Melbourne Comedy Festival run, which is kind of like Edinburgh in Australia. Like it's a really big festival with lots of other people performing. Like, my run was always like, I always had an audience there, which is really rare for someone doing a first run. Like you often expect cancelled shows or like really low audience numbers and tough crowds. But I was very fortunate and very lucky to have already had a fan base at that stage because I kept posting things online. So yeah, like in that way, I feel like if I take a few lessons from that. The first being that if I hadn't had kind of like tried experimenting online, which I only did because I thought, oh my goodness, nothing's ever going to happen for me. I kind of, in a way, got to create my own reality. Like, if I hadn't failed for those 4 years, I never would have posted online. I don't think I would have done that.
Mm.
Oh, no, I remember the other thing now. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, and I've spoken for about 5 minutes straight. I'm aware.
That's okay.
No, we love speakers. Go for it.
A thing that people have kind of mentioned to me, which I'm glad that they have this realization, is that after my current show that I do, which is all about like my online journey, and I really lean into like the influencer persona in this show, a lot of people go, so all these opportunities you're getting now, you probably wouldn't have gotten that if you never posted online and just put yourself out there and took that risk. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much exactly. So yeah, in that way, just making things happen for myself and having that mentality switch, yeah, that never would have happened if I hadn't struggled for 4 years. So yeah.
Wow.
Man, me and Emma, we feel you so much because we're all in like slightly different areas, and especially you with us. But we get that feeling. We understand the grind, the hustle, the struggle.
Mm,
But it's
mm.
really, really lovely to hear it from someone that's had like such a massive success, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. And it's like the thing is, I think a lot of people, and I read this in like Jenna Fisher's book as well. And Jenna Fisher is like, she's Pam on The Office, an amazing, amazing actress. I think she's so incredible. She's got this book for free if you have Spotify, or you can just buy the book or whatever. It's incredible, and I found it so inspirational. And I forgot the name of it, but you can just search up Jenna Fisher book and it'll
Mm.
be there. Um, about how a similar story where The Office, nothing was happening for her, and then suddenly she just got this big role, and yada yada. Even now, Jenna Fisher, who is known for The Office, she still has to like you know, audition for stuff, and there's still heaps of stuff that she doesn't get. So I think a lot of people think of success as like this pinnacle, and then after that everything's just going to be easy and work out, and it doesn't work that way. You're still hustling and grinding and trying to make things happen. Like, you know, I know so many people that are comedians that maybe want to try writing, and now they're trying to break into that world, and they're getting rejection after rejection, even though they're a great successful comedian and incredibly talented. So the journey never stops, and I think mindset is so important and underrated.
You've got to be cut out for it, you know? Like, if
Yeah.
me and Emma were talking about this recently, to make it, you've got to be the type of person that can deal with rejection and setbacks.
Yeah.
You had this really nice, she had this really nice sort of image of like different roads where you're going down this one route, suddenly it's blocked, and you have to go, well, I'm still gonna get to that point, but I have to take this alternative route that I didn't want to take. They'll still get there, you know?
Exactly. And I think like you know, after like where I'm at and everything, I've really realized that everyone's on their own journey, and there's no race and there's no competition for anything. It's just the human race. No. But like there's no like competition. Like everyone is like, yeah, like I think if you enjoy what you're doing and you focus on the process rather than the results and the outcome, I really do think that long term, yeah, that's kind of like a very healthy mentality to take on.
I want to segue
Yeah.
to your dad, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
In part because, you know, that mentality's got to come from somewhere. And also because so many people, when I've mentioned you, have seen that clip of you on Taskmaster Australia where you got them to call up your dad.
Oh my God, I had no idea. I was shitting myself. I was like, they were like, when the Australian Taskmaster Tom Gleeson was like, yeah, so we can call him up right now. I was like, they're not going to call him up. They're not. So I was like, yeah, go call him. You go do that. I was like so cocky and confident. And then he was like, all right, here we go. And then I was like, my dad is not going to pick up. I haven't told him that he's getting a call. He won't just pick up some spam caller. And then when he picked it up, you just see me lose it. I'm like, and I'm like trying to look so calm and collected because I was so cocky about it like 3 seconds ago. And then, yeah, when my dad actually replies and goes, who is this? I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God, please don't say anything ridiculous. Please don't say anything embarrassing. But it luckily, you know, it turned out really funny and it was a really good moment. Yeah.
And then he was just like, I'll watch the show when it's out or something. So sweet.
Yeah, which was because okay, so the context behind it was that he was actually coming to the studio record on Thursday, and we had no idea when the actual show was going to air yet because it could be in any time slot on any weeknight or weekend, we don't know. So it was just really lucky that he happened to be at the record on Thursday and say Thursday, and that matched with like the airtime as well.
That's
So yeah, anyway, just the stars aligned.
I can't believe you didn't tell him.
That's insane. Did he talk to you about it afterwards? What, like after the taping?
So I told him, well, I mean, I was just like, okay, so he's going to be really confused. And then I sent him a text after. I was like, hey, everything will make sense when you come on Thursday. Because he didn't even know what Taskmaster was. He didn't understand the concept. He didn't know the show. Like, he was just like, oh, I'm just going to some recording of Jenny's. Like, he didn't understand that it's like, there's a Taskmaster, an assistant, and you do tasks. So he was like, so confused, and I was like, hey, look, everything will just make sense to you later on. And he's such a weird guy. His reply was just like time-lapse photography of his farm. He just like didn't acknowledge anything I said and just sent photos of his farm, and I was like, great, thanks, Dad.
But it was so beautiful that you were like, it's my dad's. How much of like your influence in the industry has been like through your family? How much of it has been actually they have no idea what I do?
They don't understand what I do at all. They like, I mean, I guess they're like more supportive now because I have a follow account and the numbers make sense to my parents.
Right.
So yeah, they like that. And yeah, like when I was first starting up, like I didn't tell my parents I was doing comedy for a really long time, like years. And I was lying and saying that I was going to dancing classes. And then, because I'm always out like late at night, my mum was like, okay, clearly something else is going on here. You have a boyfriend. And at that point, I was like, okay, no, I don't have a boyfriend. I'm doing comedy. And she was like, what? Doing stand-up comedy. And she didn't even know what stand-up comedy was. Like there's no, because they're from like China, so there's no like direct translation for stand-up comedy. It's just called talk show. So they're like, oh, you're doing a talk show. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing every night. And she was like, that's like really hard. Like you have to be like funny. I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been doing it for like 2 years now. And she was just like, I just don't know. Okay. Like she just, cause she knows me. Right. And I'm like a pretty like, I was like always a nerd in high school, like kind of like shy and introverted, and you wouldn't imagine me being a comedic persona, I guess. So she was just like, I think in a way trying to protect me by letting me down easy and going, actually it's really, really hard. And I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it. So it took them a little bit of time to get around to it. And now they only are around to it because they've kind of seen the follow account and like been to a Taskmaster studio record and like seen me on TV now. And they're like, oh, you can actually, this is a career. Oh, okay. So yeah, they're kind of trying to wrap their heads around it.
Do they ever give you feedback on jokes? Do they ever give you joke ideas?
Oh my God, my dad all the time tries to give me joke ideas.
Are they proper dad jokes or like?
No, they're so bad. Like, oh my God, okay, let me
Do you
try.
have an example?
Let me try think of something my dad pitched me. Like, it's just the randomest. I mean, my brother has even tried to pitch me stuff like, hey, you could, and it's never funny. He's like, hey, like, you could talk about how one time, we were doing this talent show in our family, and then we were all trying to show off their talents. And mum was like, hey, George, you should try and do some comedy. And then I went up and it was not funny. You should say that story. And I'm like, why? I'm not in this story. Why would I tell this story about you bombing? This is terrible. I just look mean. So yeah, like they'll constantly pitch me stuff. And like my dad, he kind of like he's an immigration agent. So he meets like lots of different students, and he has like he bought a farm. Like he's a really weird dude. He like bought this hobby farm. Like he doesn't actually do anything farm related on it. He just kind of like lives there. He's like, you can talk about how I have a farm and I do karaoke nights on my farm. And I'm like, is that it? He's like, yeah, it'll be really fun. Like, oh, thanks, Dad. I'll consider it. Yeah, great.
To be fair, that does sound like a really fun farm. Karaoke nights on a farm.
It is kind of fun. Yeah.
Is it very out of the way? Like, is this something people could they just rock up to Jenny Tian's dad's farm for a karaoke party? Is that a thing?
Yeah, I don't even know how he's doing this, but I guess it's like maybe he's operating an Airbnb or something, but like international students would kind of just like come over to the farm to like live the Australian experience and like chill out there and like see grass and cows and stuff. And yeah, and then he, I guess, is their host in a way. So yeah, and then he would also always show videos of me to them and be like, this is my daughter. And they'll be like, oh, wow. And he'll always go to her comedy show.
Aww.
And then I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So he's very sweet.
Very supportive.
Well, let's dig into, you've got your tour, Chinese Australian, A Tale of Internet Fame. For people that have never heard of you before, how would you sum up why they should come to this show in 3 words?
Oh, because it's fun, ADHD, and good vibes. That's 2 words, but I did 4. There we go. I did an acronym in there as well, so I'm going to use that extra word to compensate for that acronym that was quite short.
Go see Jenny Tian's show. It's fun, ADHD, and good vibes.
Yes. I also, I have a second failure I realised I forgot to share with you guys.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Share away.
Okay, my second one is, okay, so I tried radio And because someone recommended me for it, and I was on this like youth radio station, which anyone in Australia, you would know what it is. It's like the youth radio station that everyone wants to be on. And I was like, wow, this is such a cool opportunity. This is going to be great. I was doing the late night shifts there, and I shouldn't speak badly of it, but I was really having a miserable time. You're by yourself for 3 entire hours. You're there from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m., and all you do is announce music. And I was having the hardest time. And that was like another trajectory that comedians come up through is if you're on this radio station, you tend to have a great career afterwards. And I was like, oh my God, why am I was like not I was not naturally adapting to it at all because you have to kind of like speak off the cuff and like everyone there is kind of like a little bit cool. They were like, oh yeah, this artist is coming up like Tame Impala, these are the tour dates and stuff. And like I just couldn't that wasn't really me. And everyone else that had kind of been trained at the same time as me was like kind of getting upgraded to like regular spots and getting more shifts. And I was like kind of like stuck on these late night shifts. And you could feel like, oh, okay, it is because I'm actually like not as skilled as these other people at it. And I kept kind of like trying to push through it and go, no, but this is meant to be a thing that the people get and the comedians get. And it just wasn't gelling. And eventually I kind of was just like, I just don't need to do this. So then I stopped doing that. And I think that that's healthy as well. Like if something's not working out for you, you don't have to keep trying it. Like I am not built for radio, and that is okay. It's not a career that I'm so glad I tried it and entertained it and really explored and tried my hardest at it, but I am not a good radio person. And that is so fine. There's so many other things I can focus on as well. So that is my other failure that I will share.
You mentioned that as a rite of passage for a lot of comedians that you tried and that you were like, actually, this definitely doesn't work for me. But I mean, you've just made your Edinburgh Fringe debut, which is massive. That's, every person that I've ever heard of that wants to get into comedy wants to do that. That's always a massive thing. Firstly, congrats, but also how was it? How did you find it?
Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind. It's so interesting that it's like seen as such a big thing because all you have to do is pay a registration fee. Like anyone can go and do a show. There's like, I kind of think that's what's so cool about it is that there's no barrier to entry. And I mean, aside from how expensive some of the venues can be, Free Fringe though is like, much more, I guess, affordable. But it's like, I think it's kind of cool that you can just like make art. I think that's really awesome. Edinburgh Fringe I found incredibly inspiring. I thought it was such a cool, in a way, meditative process because every day I would wake up, usually in the afternoon because I would stay out late. I would wake up, I was doing 2 shows. So I was doing a split bill with my good mates Patrick Alamco and Nick Schuler, both so funny. Anyone listening, please check them out. They're amazing. So I would do a split, like a 3-way with them. And then I would later in the day do my solo hour. So it's like you wake up, eat, do the split bill, rest a bit, do your solo hour, and then you have some free time to either hang out with people or do your show. And it was like rinse and repeat every day. And my goal in that was just to kind of like be a better comic, and really work my comedy chops in a different environment to Australia, which I think I achieved. So I feel really happy about the whole experience. It was like school camp. I got to see my friends every day.
And I saw your incredible commentary on Irn-Bru as well.
Oh yeah, me too.
Fantastic.
It's so funny. I feel like I've pissed off so many people in the UK and I've only been here for a month. Like
when I saw your commentary on Irn-Bru, I was like, that's how most English people feel, I think.
Thank you.
But if you're Scottish, it's an institution, isn't it? So you can't say that to a Scottish person.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's kind of like a joke. I feel like in school it's kind of like a meme. People make a joke out of liking Irn-Bru so much, but I don't think anyone actually likes it that much.
No.
I'm like, everyone was like, when I arrived in Scotland, I was like, what should I try? And they're like, this drink, this is unique to Scotland. We made this, it's like so special to us. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then one day I finally tried it and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys. Everyone's tasted this before. You're not special. You're not unique. Like, we've all had it, and everyone's lying to you. They're lying to make you feel special. You don't have a thing. But like, you know, like after a little bit of time, my friend who has very delicate taste buds, because he saw my video as well, was like, it's called Irn-Bru because it's meant to taste like a little bit irony and a little bit like tangy or something. And he's like, there's like notes of this in it, so it is different. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. People with sensitive taste buds, maybe you can taste the difference. But yeah, I still stand by creaming soda and Irn-Bru pretty much being exactly the same.
Did you check out haggis while you were there as well?
Haggis, yes, I love haggis. Great, spiced. Like, I don't know, it tasted like okay, I don't know if KFC is a very big thing here.
It's very big here.
It's
Yeah.
big. Okay,
Yeah.
so KFC, it just reminded me of like the potato and gravy from KFC, with like a different texture because it's got like that peppery, you know, that little peppery tastes in there. So I really enjoyed it. What else did I like? I know it's a touristy thing, but I actually really loved the deep fried Mars bars. I enjoyed it. I also love tablets. I'm obsessed with tablets. Do you guys know tablets?
No.
No?
Oh my god. Okay, so this is like what like the actual Scots eat. Like not just like the touristy stuff. So tablets is like it's almost like a fudge, but it like crumbles. It's like sugar and it like it's like melts in your mouth. And it just tastes so good and you can make it at home. It's essentially like straight sugar with like condensed milk and like dried out. And that sounds revolting when I describe it that way, but it's actually so delicious and tasty and I'm obsessed with it.
Sounds good.
That sounds like something right up your street, Maddie.
Yeah, I've got a massive sweet tooth. Like I can eat anything sweet.
Oh my
I would
god,
like
I'm
to
the
try
same
this.
as you.
Have you ever tried rock, like a stick of rock, while you're here in the UK?
What's rock? I thought that was a drug.
No, not the drug.
Yeah. You go into the streets, had a bit of that rock.
No, it's like, how would you even describe it, Emma? It's like really hard.
It's like very hard candy,
It's so nice.
which I realise still makes it sound horrible.
It's like a
but it's like flavoured.
You can have a stick, and you just
Yeah.
kind of like.
Is it like what's the taste of it? Do you have to make the sound as well when you do it?
Yes. But you get them.
It's very tough, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
you get
very-
them by the seaside a lot as well. It's like a seasidey thing.
Yeah.
Is it like the texture? Is it like a lollipop? Is it like that type of hardness? Or
Do you know the hard sort of spirally lollipops? Have you seen those?
Oh yeah, yes.
It's
I do
kind
know.
of like that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I've not tried this.
It's nice.
Wow, is it?
Like if you go to Blackpool
Yeah.
whilst you're here,
Yeah.
that would be definitely something to pick up.
Ooh, okay, I'm keen. I
Yeah.
love this. Thank you for your recommendation.
But be careful with your teeth.
Okay, they're like really hard.
That they won't get chipped.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, wow, all right. Brutal. We're on the hard stuff. That's what it is. The hard can.
Yeah.
What have your favourite things been about England now that you've crossed the border down?
I think, like, okay,
Apart from the happy people.
I honestly think the people.
Which surprises me still.
Yeah, I think the people are quite happy. I think that I really like the parks. The parks are a vibe. I like how much
Wow.
greenery there is around. Like everywhere you walk, every suburb, there's just greenery. Also, like, everyone's like, oh, Brits are so like grumpy and stuff. Everyone's so friendly, and I don't know whether it's just me as a person, but like, I don't know. I got a haircut today, and like my hairdresser gave me her number and was like, let's get coffee sometime. Like, people are just nice.
Oh.
I don't know whether that's a normal thing.
Maybe they just like you.
Yeah, maybe it's you.
Maybe. Who knows? But I did get my phone snatched, and that was awful. And
Oh,
I
no.
hated that. That was so not fun. I chased after the guy, which I only learned afterwards I probably shouldn't have done because he might have had a knife. But yeah, I just chased and then I yelled, and then people on the street helped me because it was like daylight. So like people helped corner him, and then I got my phone back, and then those people walked me to my next destination to make sure I was like okay, because I was so angry. I was like, my whole life is on this phone. Excuse me. So yeah, that was not fun. Didn't like that part of London. But yeah, I don't know. I think also how like, I mean, I've only been in London so far, and I know that's not England, and I need to explore more of England, but I love the international vibe of London. Like, there's just like different types of people everywhere. It's like really diverse, and like, like me, there's so many people that are, they've only been here for like a little bit, and they're just so open and willing to be friends, and they're off to somewhere afterwards, and like it's kind of like that transient vibe that I'm really into. The shopping's convenient. I love meal deals. Meal deals are amazing. Like they're so good. I love the competition among supermarkets as well. That's like not a thing among the rest of the world. Like the rest of the world usually has like a monopoly or a duopoly of
Mm,
supermarkets. So they're both colluding together to make the prices really
mm.
high. Here, there's a healthy level of competition because there's enough supermarkets where they can be competitive with each other, which is how capitalism should actually work. And like, yeah, it's like groceries are on average like you, actually like kind of affordable. Like I know like it's not the cheapest thing in the world
Mm.
still, but they're actually affordable, and like eating out like is like a special occasion that you can save for later, and like cooking at home is like something you can actually do. Like in Australia, like groceries are really really expensive, and it's
Wow.
basically the same price
Really?
as eating out. So yeah, it's like just living and feeding yourself is really pricey, so I feel very lucky here.
Out of all the supermarkets, do you have a favorite? Can we get you a brand deal? If do we Jenny Tian endorsed supermarket?
Okay, if there's any brand deal, it should be for strawberries, firstly. I'm obsessed with strawberries here. But the brand deal, okay, the brands, okay, I love, and I haven't tried all of them.
Okay.
I really like
I
Sainsbury's.
knew it. I felt like you were a Sainsbury's girl.
I like their berries, and I like their like, the meals that they make because I'm not a very good cook at all. So I'm not great with raw ingredients. So they have a lot of those things where it's just like, here's a bit of pasta, here's a bit of sauce, boom, together. And then that's really affordable. Although I do love for meal deals,
Mm.
Tesco. I really like Tesco, and they're everywhere as well. Actually, everything's everywhere.
Yeah.
I have yet to check out Little, but I've heard that's really good as well.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
I think I went to Waitrose and an M&S at one point, and I was like, "This is bougie.
Oh yeah.
This is a bit too
Yeah.
classy. I don't think I belong here." So yeah, Sainsbury.
Love it. I mean, brand deals aside, my favorite moment from you on Taskmaster
Yeah.
Australia was, I don't know if you remember any of this or whether it's all a blur because obviously you have so many tasks, but was your slip, slap, slop.
Oh, thanks. Yes.
You know, when I watched that, I'm like, British Airways once before tried to get, when you go into an airplane and they give you that whole like service announcement at the beginning, which nobody watches, and they tried to get a bunch
Mm.
of very British celebrities to do it because they clearly thought that would make people watch it. I feel like
Mm.
who needs to do that with your slip, slap, slot regarding sun protection?
Yes, we should get someone to do it.
Because it's so memorable.
Oh, thank you. Let's get Tom Holland on it. It was so fun to do. Like I remember the brief, and I remember going like, "Oh, everyone's going to do this." Everyone's going to interpret slop as sunscreen, so I'm going to really have to go hard if I'm going to do it. So then I was like, "Give me your biggest bottle of sunscreen." That's what I said to the producers, and they were like, "All right, we'll source that for you." And it was fun. It was actually the last task I filmed for the whole thing. Because yeah, no secret. They don't air at the same time as we film them, in the order that we film them, sorry. But yeah, it was because it took time to source the sunscreen, and because it was like I was getting it all in my hair and all in my shirt and my top and everything. It had to have been a last thing to have been filmed. Otherwise, I couldn't do the next tasks because I would have like all this sunscreen everywhere. So yeah, that was the very last thing. So in a way, it was so fun because I could like fully commit to it, knowing it would be the last thing I did for Taskmaster in the tasks section.
You definitely were committed.
It was really fun.
It was a horrifyingly big bottle of sunscreen. Is that a normal sunscreen bottle size in Australia?
Yeah, I mean, our sun is like intense in Australia.
It was huge though.
Yes, but it's like you would go out every day, or like you go to the beach and you have to like rub it all over your body and like over your back, and like often it's like you would share it with like your friends as well or your family. So it's like that bottle is not just for you. It's like, your bottle that you would take to the beach every single time you go to the beach and when you would go out as well. And like the sun is genuinely so intense in Australia that you really do have to like make sure you're covering yourself with sunscreen. Otherwise, like sometimes you'd go out for like 3 minutes and then you just you're red and then your skin would be peeling and it's like super gross. So you want to avoid that and put on sunscreen.
See, like in the UK, our sunscreen bottles are like the size of this mic.
Yeah. A lot of us forget to wear it as well.
Yeah, I guess because it's like, not that practical to sell such a big size. Like no one would be like, oh yeah, I'll need that for a British summer that's like 23 degrees.
Sometimes though it can shock you. Like this one time I got sunburn in Wales and I didn't look, I was like 16, so and back then I like kept wanting to get a natural suntan, so I didn't have any sun lotion on and I got burnt on my bum. So I couldn't sit down for like 2 days. So I either had to sort of lounge on my front or just be stood up
Oh
for
my
2 days straight.
gosh. Oh my gosh. That's so painful. I can't imagine a worse place to get burnt.
I know. I know. So yeah, sun lotion.
I feel like that's quite normal for Wales, though. If you ever go to Wales, Jenny, because the air quality is so
It was
clear
surprisingly hot.
Really?
versus like London,
Really?
where like Maddie's from up north, so whenever she comes down, she's like, it's disgusting air quality.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's like in Wales, it is so clear.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, the London air quality is not the greatest. I mean, I had my first moment yesterday night where I blew my nose into a tissue and like the snot was like black because I've been taking the tube so much.
You went on the
I
tube.
went on the tube and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. This is in my lungs. Like, oh my God, yuck. I can't believe Londoners just live like this.
It's because it's like centuries old dust that's been in the tube and it doesn't go anywhere. It just keeps on circling round.
Oh, so bad. It's like, oh my God, it's like so dirty, but it's so convenient.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To bring it back to your tour,
Mm.
whenever you're traveling about, and obviously you're working on new material all the time, even whilst you're performing, from place to place, do you ever throw in new jokes? Do you ever change things up depending on where you are?
Yeah. So I will, there's a few cities that are known in Australia where it's like, this is where you work on your material. And I'll be quite open with the crowd and I'll have notes. And I'll be like, I'm working on stuff, guys. Yeah, these are new jokes. And then what works from that will then make it into the next show. So there's definitely shows like that. And then when I was in Edinburgh this year, it was like the final version of the show. Although I do kind of like up top try to, do some location specific stuff and chat to the crowd a little bit and kind of, do things to make it special for them and be in the room with them. Every show is like a little bit different. And I guess if I get really bored, then I'll change the order of my set list just for me and my sanity, because saying the same thing over and over again every night it can get really draining. That's what I kind of do to help things feel sane for myself.
Do you have a favourite joke? Can you tease us?
Oh my God. Do I have a favorite joke? Yes, but I'm going to release it in my next special, so I don't want to give it away. But my favorite joke from my old special is it's one that I can't do anymore because it feels outdated when I do it. It's one about how during lockdown in COVID I was living all by myself. And it was like my emotions were bouncing around all over the place, and it feels like the Microsoft Windows screensaver where I'd just be like angry, sad, horny. And sometimes I'd do that thing where it gets caught in the corner, so it would be like sad, horny, sad, horny, sad, horny, shame. And then that's that. And it's my favorite joke.
I imagine that went down well with the crowd.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, because I wrote it during COVID, so then when I did it after COVID, it felt so topical and fresh, and it was so fun to perform. I loved it.
If you could pick a lineup of another 5 comedians, favorite comedians for you to share the stage with, who would it be?
Whoa, of all time, or just like London?
Of all time.
Oh my God. So it's like intimidating because it's like, if you're with people that are really good, it's hard to follow them. But I think like, I don't know, I guess like dream people to meet or share a stage with or like who to open for. The first person that comes to mind is probably Ali Wong. I saw her latest hour in live and it's, oh my God, I don't know how she does it, but it's so funny. I think it's her best hour yet. It was so great and insightful, and I just think she's like a powerhouse. Like, props to her. She's really, really fun. I love Ronnie Chang. I've already opened for Ronnie Chang, and we talk, but I just think he's so funny. He's great. Um, I also love Nate Bargatze. I think he's so casual. Like he's funny in a way I could never be, where he's just like, it doesn't even sound like stand-up comedy. It sounds like he's just talking to the audience, but there's actually jokes in there. And I'm like, yeah, I just think he's amazing. John Mulaney, also amazing. I thought what he did in his latest special, like being that honest about the current situation of his life, and going dark, I was like, whoa, I think that's bold to do. So he was really fantastic. And do I have one left? I have one left.
You have one left.
Oh my God. I think I should, oh my God. Okay, someone, oh God, Dimitri Martin, I think. He's so like, again, I actually when I first started, I was so obsessed with Dimitri Martin. I actually kind of emulated him, and you'll actually see it if you watch my first hour of comedy. It's heavy Dimitri Martin inspired, and now I've kind of like found my own voice a bit more. But yeah, I just think what he does and his perspective on the world is so unique and fun, and only he can do what he does.
Love it. Well, with that in mind, we'll segue to our closing portion of the show, the exchange, where our lovely guests offer something that they're enjoying very much right now. As we mentioned last episode, Maddie has made the rule you can't say your dog, your mum.
Your mum. I can't Google your mum.
We can't hang out with your mum.
Yeah.
But
can't move your mums. Yeah.
Jenny, what would you like to bring to the exchange? What would you love listeners to check out that you're loving right now?
Okay, this is so specific to my situation right now. But okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but I'm essentially living in I would describe this as like a murderer's second location. Like it's a bit dingy, but it's very affordable for London. And their air quality has been a bit weird here. And I've gotten a dehumidifier that I borrowed from my amazing comedian friend Erica Elka, and like it like just helps with like the air quality, and like breathing has been nicer, and it's really fun and satisfying to see the water gather in the dehumidifier. It's one of my favorite things to do at the moment. So if you don't have a dehumidifier, that's like a fun thing that you can do, I guess.
I have a dehumidifier. I love it. It's amazing.
It's so fun, right? Isn't it fun?
You know, if you want to have a party, you drop some essential oils in, and you're like, oh,
right. It just, I don't know, it just makes you feel like you've got your life a little bit together, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, like I'm breathing nice air. It just feels good.
I mean, Maddie, you've had a mold situation. Maybe that's what you need, a dehumidifier.
Oh my God.
It's so damp. This wall, it just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel quite right, because it's like the outside wall. Have you heard about UK houses and like the way they're sort of insulated?
I don't know how they're insulated, but I know they are.
They are built to sort of keep the heat in.
Yeah.
So that's a whole big problem of its own when it gets actually hot for the first time in like a million years. But with my house, it's quite an old house, and I'm on like the two outside walls, so it just gets really damp, and like there's not proper ventilation, and I get mold. So I think I'm gonna follow in your footsteps and get a dehumidifier.
Do it and get that baking soda out, the vinegar out. Yeah, get rid of that mold.
We all like to sign off with a message. Maddie and I will go first, just so you get a sense of what we go for. It can be anything.
Right.
We've had anything from wash your ass to...
Can I say, I don't like bidets. Like, I think they're overrated. I think that, like, what do you call it? I think it just, I'm not a fan of it. So I definitely won't say wash your ass. Don't worry.
No, but that did come from... Maddie, you had a story about people not washing their bums, and then that became...
Yeah. Because some men, okay, I know it's not just men, but like, I feel like there are some men that just will literally get in the shower and they'll just let the water run down, or they won't wash their feet or their special area. You know, like they don't wash it.
That's such a polite way to say it. Special area. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, dick.
I hadn't realised that before. But it did become, hence wash your ass did become a message at the end.
Okay, no, that is really important, and
It
that is
is.
unrelated to bidets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wash your ass properly, please.
I do wish there is something about. I think this will be my little one. I do think investing in a bidet is like a life quality enhancer to the max. Like when I go abroad and there's a bidet, I'm like, this is amazing. I love this. And then I come home and we don't have one, and I feel just so dirty, you know?
Yeah. Although, okay, can I say, have you ever gotten like a UTI from a bidet? Because I think I have.
Really?
And that's why I don't like them.
How?
Because I think like what it does is just like, okay, so this is going to be a little bit graphic, but if you're like sitting on the toilet and then the water's like spraying up and like into stuff, you know?
Oh, so it's like blasting you.
Right? Like, isn't that like spreading like germs and stuff? Like,
Good
I'm
point.
just, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I've not had nice times with bidets, and that's why I don't like bidets. Yeah.
I can imagine that. See, now you said that.
Well, now I don't want one.
Right? Right? I'm like, no one's talking about this UTI bidet situation.
Oh.
Never
See,
mind.
I was gonna say, you said you raised your bidet. I was gonna raise you a Japanese heated seated toilet.
Okay, that's cool. I love that. That's cool.
Right.
That's like you're living a life.
Whenever I've used it, because we have in Japan House in London, which is a lovely place you should visit if you ever get the chance to. I had never had to use the toilet there before, even though I've been there so often. And then one day I did, and it's like the full Japanese toilet shebang, heated seats, remote control on the side, water that sprays up. But I'm not going to do that now.
Mate, my coworker at the cafe was literally talking to me about the toilets in Japan House today.
Really?
So I can't believe you're talking about them as well. Yeah.
They are amazing. See, Jenny, you've got to go to Japan House now at some
Goes
point.
to toilets.
Yes. I don't even know what Japan House is, but I'm keen for their toilet.
Also, their next exhibition, because I know you love food, is about food. So, you know, two birds, one stone.
Ooh, okay, keen.
Yeah.
Thanks for the rec.
But, you know, a heated toilet, I think, is more of a luxury than a bidet. Just to
Yes, I would agree. You know, do you guys know who Roald Dahl is?
Yes.
Of course.
Roald Dahl. Okay, great. I was like, is this only an Australian thing? I'm like, do you
No,
guys...
we love James and the Giant Peach.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I was just like, do you guys read? Do you have words? Or is that an Australian thing? No, but like he used to in school, because I read his autobiography. When he was like a little kid, his headmaster used to make Roald Dahl sit on the toilet to warm the toilet seat, and then the headmaster would then switch out with Roald Dahl and then sit there himself, so that he had a nice warm toilet. Yeah, it's so funny.
Is that child labour? Does that count as child labour?
I don't know, he would do it like in school, and like I guess Roald Dahl didn't mind it because he wasn't in class. And he was like, I guess the kid that was really good at warming toilets. And saying this out loud, I realize this sounds incredibly problematic, but I just thought it was such a funny random thing for a principal to get a school kid to do.
That's just so crazy that it was like one specific student as well that was assigned to be the toilet warmer.
The toilet.
He was like his butt was really good at warming the toilet. He had a big butt.
That's one of those things where it's like additional skills on the bottom of a CV.
Yes,
Toilet
exactly.
warmer. Did it for 3 years at school. Picked by headmaster.
Here's his reference here.
Well, is that your sign off, Maddie? Get a bidet? Or are you backtracking now after the UTI story?
Get a bidet, but also drink lots of water so you don't get a UTI from using the bidet.
Ooh, that's good.
Very specific. I love it. Mine will be watch The Dragon Prince on Netflix. It's very good. This is not sponsored by Netflix.
Yeah.
But it's very good.
Oh, okay. What's mine gonna be? Damn. Okay, I've said the humidifier thing.
It's like, what would you want the audience to feel? What feeling do you want to leave them with?
I want them to feel all the hope and happiness you could ever feel in your life. Okay, what would I recommend? What do you call it? I don't know. Maybe I'm like very London inspired at the moment, but what do you call it? Listen to nice music. That's what I have, and that's mine because I'm on the tube all the time now, and I realize that there's no internet connection down in the tube, and it's important to have things downloaded into your phone that you can enjoy offline as well. So, good music that makes you feel nice. Have a bit of that in your life.
Do you have any song recs, album recs, artist recs?
I really like I don't even know how to say her name. Clairo.
Yeah.
Her new album is like so chill and like joyous and really, really fun. I love Slow Dance and Juno off it. And everything else that I have is like so of the moment that everyone is talking about right now, like Chapel Roan and Charlie XCX, but they are so brilliant. So yeah.
Lush. Well, Jenny, where can our listeners find you? Obviously, Chinese Australian, a tale of internet fame, is in London from the 27th to the 29th. You can go and get tickets in the link. But apart from that, where can they find you, Jenny?
Okay, so I'm on Instagram at _Jenny Tian, TikTok at NomNomJenny, YouTube at NomNomJenny, and I have a Facebook page, and you're welcome to find me on there as well. But I don't know if I do much on there.
Lush, well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you
It's been
so
such a
much.
blast having you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. See you.
Bye.
Bye.